Right now, with another round of snow on the way, we'll tell you how expanding snow emergency zones are going to affect where you can park.
And Hattie's here to tell us what we need to know about another alert day that's going to impact your evening commute. Straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for joining us on your Wednesday, November 13th. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Breiter, meteorologist Hattie McLean here now. And Hattie, we are dealing with the cold this morning, but it's the snow that's the big story later today.
That's true. Yeah, more snow on the way. The snowy November continues. The good news is that the snow is not going to impact your morning commute. It will likely impact the afternoon commute, though. Changes have been made to the forecast. Right now, it looks like less snow is expected later on today, just up to 2 inches for southern Wisconsin. So not a major snow event by any means. It's more the timing of this event that is problematic. It comes right during the afternoon rush hour. Now, if you're looking at the radar map this morning as you wake up, you may be a little surprised to see some snow showing up on the radar map. These snow showers are aloft and they're actually evaporating before they hit the ground. I haven't seen any ground truth of snow reports yet this morning. So it'll take a little bit for the atmosphere to saturate. It is cold though. Any way you look at it this morning, winds are stronger. We are a little bit warmer, but with those stronger winds, wind chills are still hovering around 0 in many spots. Our temperatures today will climb to highs in the mid-20s. That's almost 10 degrees warmer than it was yesterday, but still well below normal for this time of the year. Here's a look at our traffic reports this morning. A live look from the DOT camera on the Beltline. Travel going at posted speeds there. No issues this morning. There are some slowdowns on East Washington as you head into downtown from the east side, but otherwise no major delays to report around Dane County at this time. And that's your first alert traffic.
I would say it's kind of nice for us this morning because I feel like every snow we've gotten has been during the morning commute.
You're right. So just plan ahead. It's going to be on the way home today.
All right. Lots to look at. Hattie, thank you.
You're welcome.
So heads up for any Madison drivers. Alternate side parking will start back up for the winter later this week.
Yeah, and this year, the city is actually changing who's required to follow those rules. Keely Arthur joins us live with what we all need to know. Good morning, Keely.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. Yes, this all starts on Friday, and it's a little confusing. So on even dates, you need to park on the side of the street with even addresses. And then on odd dates, you need to park on the side of the street with odd addresses. So like I said, this starts November 15th. So for example, if you are parking the night before, November 14th, you need to abide by the 15th rule. So you need to park on the odd side of the street. Like I said, very, very confusing, but it's all for good reason. It's so the city can easily plow the snow off the roads, and we know that that is certainly an issue already this year. Now, these rules start this week and then will last through mid-March. For people parking in the downtown areas, though, things are a little different. South Park Street to the Yahara River, and then the Greenbush, Vilas, Bay Creek, and Shank Atwood neighborhoods, you're in what's called a snow emergency zone, meaning you have to park, or you're allowed to park really on any side of the street unless it's a snow emergency. Those neighborhoods are just far too populated for the city to enforce alternate side parking from now until March. But like we have said and we have seen, there's already been a ton of snow, so those snow emergency days will probably happen pretty often, and the city will update you when they declare one of those. And we have an updated map on our website. They have expanded the snow emergency zone. So even if you've lived in Madison your whole life, the rules might be a little different in terms of alternate side parking this year. Again, it starts Friday, and if you don't follow the rules, you could be ticketed or towed. So important to listen up on this one, you guys. I'll send it back to you too.
All right, Keely Arthur, thank you very much.
All right, we're following some breaking news this morning. 3 officers will be added to the Madison Police Department after the city's city council approved a budget amendment overnight.
This comes after an amendment to add 6 officers failed. The council is expected to pass the full budget by the end of the week. Members took public comment yesterday on proposed amendments, including one that would have added 10 firefighters and a 9th ambulance to the city. Another would have gotten funding in part from eliminating a $200,000 independent police auditor position.
In just the last month, we've had over 8 to 9 times where we had 0 ambulances that were able to provide service to our residents across this city. That is a problem.
If someone's pitting the fire department against an auditor, oversight of the police department, then they don't really care about any of us.
Since the council didn't get a final vote on the entire budget last night, they will be meeting again tonight. Speaking of budgets, some county highway departments are already out of money for plowing snow for the year. It's not the recent snow that's the problem, though. Wisconsin Public Radio is reporting the record snowfall in February could be to blame. Crews in Dunn County used up the $1.2 million budgeted before the summer even started. Because of that, the county had to pull another $1 million from road construction projects to make sure there was enough money to cover plowing for the rest of the year.
Meanwhile, snow and leaves are continuing to fall together this year. For some areas around the state, the trucks that collect leaves in the fall are the same ones used to plow the snow in the winter. And as the seasons shift, so are the trucks, some now dedicated to plowing the snow instead of picking up the leaves. Now, with leaves still left to fall, transitioning the leaf collectors to snow plows could mean bad news for your grass.
Then those leaves sit there on the terrace all winter, and the grass isn't very green in the spring because it's been choked down.
City workers in Green Bay are preparing for the worst as more snow starts to roll into the area. They'll continue to collect leaves, and if the snow snows more than 2 inches, they'll switch to snow plowing the entire city.
A major construction project will be delayed because of all the snowy weather. Crews finished working on Buckeye Road between Monona and Lakeview Drives, but they're still working to install traffic markings and signs between Morningside and Stoughton Roads, so that stretch is still closed and temporary asphalt is down. The city says permanent asphalt will be put down once the ground thaws come spring. All right, we are just hours from the first public impeachment hearings against President Trump.
The 2 witnesses testifying today have a combined 51 years in foreign service. Ambassador Bill Taylor is the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, and George Kent is Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. The hearing is expected to last at least 4 hours. The White House says President Trump plans on watching at least part of today's proceedings on TV. The hearings will continue Friday when former Ukraine Ambassador Maria Yovanovitch testifies. Be sure to stick with CBS this morning as they cover it all live. That's happening right after News 3 Now this morning, today at 8:55, and again on Friday.
We are learning more about a plane crash that killed 3 men from Wisconsin, including a well-known dairy farmer. The National Transportation Safety Board released its final report roughly 20 months after the 2018 crash. Kewanee dairy owner John Peggle, his son-in-law, and the pilot were the only 3 in the plane. The NTSB says the probable cause of the crash was an in-flight loss of control, but they couldn't determine why based on the evidence they had. The pilot reported trouble keeping the plane level, and shortly after, all communication was lost. The plane crashed in Indiana as the 3 were flying to Green Bay after a business trip.
Right now, America's largest milk producer is filing for bankruptcy. Dean Foods filed in an effort to keep the company operating. You probably recognize some of its milk and dairy products when you go to the store, like Dairy Pure, Organic Valley, and Land O'Lakes. Dean Foods has been struggling because Americans are drinking less cow's milk. The Dairy Farmers of America Cooperative could buy most of that company.
At the state capitol, a bill to help out the state's hemp program is moving forward from the assembly. The bipartisan bill will realign the state's program with the new requirements under the 2018 federal farm bill. It's designed to help farmers, hemp processors, retailers, and consumers as the state's program enters into its 2nd year. The bill already passed in the Senate, so now it's headed to Governor Evers' desk.
6:08 right now. A teen with 9 open court cases has continued to burglarize houses as he's out on bond. Coming up, we're hearing from a homeowner who was a victim in this frustrating situation.
And after record-breaking cold this week, another alert day for your Wednesday. Hattie's updating how much snow we might see on our evening commute when News 3 Now this morning returns.
This
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. All bundled up this morning, more so even than yesterday, with a stronger south wind coming right into the backyard weather patio. It feels pretty darn cold outside. Today is an alert day. Wanted to let you know about that, though. We still have that alert day in the forecast due to the light snow developing this afternoon and most likely making it a little tougher to get around later on today. So unlike the last few storms, this one is not impacting the morning commute, but the afternoon drive home. Future track snow amounts are generally pretty light. In fact, they've come down a little bit over the last 24 hours. Yesterday morning, you may have remembered we were forecasting 1 to 3 inches. Now it looks like about 1/2 inch to almost 2 inches in most spots for this event later on today. So snow totals being lowered just a little bit, but still the snow falling during the afternoon commute will make travel a little difficult. If you're looking at the radar map right now, it is showing some light snow, especially here in Madison. I can tell you it's not hitting the ground. That snow is evaporating before it actually reaches the surface, so no snow falling right now. You have to wait until after lunchtime to see those snow showers. There are some snow showers and even some light mixed and rain showing up on the radar map further back to the west where temperatures are a little bit warmer. Temperatures will definitely stay below freezing today, so there's no question this event will be all snow for us. Weather track showing you that area of low pressure in the Dakotas this morning. That's where temperatures are a little bit warmer behind that warm front in the 30s this morning. In fact, there are some 30s on the map. Sioux Falls right now, 20 in Des Moines. Temperatures are coldest to the east, where it took a little longer for those clouds to move in. Here in southern Wisconsin, temps have been slowly climbing through the overnight hours. We're up to 14 now here in Madison. In Janesville, it's 18. Prairie du Chine's actually closer to 20 degrees. But factor in a strong south wind around 15 miles an hour, and it feels like it's about 0. In fact, wind chill back down to 2 below here in Madison. So bundle up nonetheless. Wind chills are going to get back into positive territory today, but stay less than 20. Here's a look at your future track forecast model. Just cloudy and breezy through the morning hours. By the time we hit lunchtime, we start to see that snow spreading in north and west of Madison. It will eventually move through all of southern Wisconsin through the evening hours, but come to an end by midnight. Skies will actually already be starting to clear out tomorrow morning. Here's your extended forecast. We do have quiet weather with some sunshine. Maybe the sun will be enough to take care of that snow tomorrow, especially if you get less than an inch. 31 for the high on Thursday, 34 on Friday. We'll continue that very slow warming trend right into the upcoming weekend. Now it's time to get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll send it over to Josh Tim. Welcome back, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Starting off with no major delays on the Beltline so far. Just a few of the usual brake lights. They are starting to show up westbound between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. Other roads here in Dane County not looking too bad either, but we are starting to pick up on the northbound side of Verona Road as you approach the Beltline ramps. No delays showing up downtown around the Capitol Square and on campus. Plan on things picking up over the next few hours. And other main routes coming into Madison, they're cruising at the posted speeds with no major issues. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Good to hear you, Josh. Thank you. Into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overnight. 2 police officers and 2 others are in the hospital after a fire in Sun Prairie. Crews responded to a multi-family building near Liberty Park just after 8 last night. The police were the first to the scene and went inside to help the 2 others who were evacuating. All 4 are being treated for smoke inhalation. The fire reportedly started in the basement and was quickly put out. 4 pets were rescued and given to family members, and Madison Fire also assisted. 6:15 right now. A homeowner says he's frustrated that more people are becoming victims of a local teen.
17-year-old DeMonte Tillman has 9 open cases going through the court system right now. Brett Sprechter says he's the victim of one of those cases. He says Tillman burglarized his home a few months ago and then was arrested last Friday for doing it to someone else. District Attorney Ishmael Ozan says Tillman has gotten out of jail on signature bond every single time up until last week.
In the adult system, a court commissioner or a judge would decide whether a person gets bail, whether that's a recognizance bond, basically a signature bond, or what other conditions they're going to have as a condition of their release.
Right now, Tillman is sitting in jail and wasn't able to post cash bond. His next court appearance is next Tuesday.
The former executive director of a local nonprofit is facing a tentative charge of felony theft from a business. Detectives started investigating 40-year-old Jessica Grunick earlier this year after being contacted by a concerned staff member at NAMI Wisconsin, a grassroots mental health organization. Their investigation found Grunick used a NAMI credit card to make many unauthorized purchases, including hotel rooms, rental cars, moving expenses, and restaurant bills. She also faces 18 counts of misappropriation of personal identifying materials.
We are entering the third day of a Rock County homicide trial this morning. A jury will determine whether Jacob Davenport is guilty in the February murder of 28-year-old James Tompton. Tompton was found dead in his car on Beloit's west side. Davenport was arrested in Texas after 2 months of searching for a suspect. Prosecutors have focused on the security footage. So far, the defense hasn't had their turn to argue. The Tompton family says they're hopeful a verdict will be reached by the end of the week.
The Janesville Police Department's SWAT team will be doing firearms qualifications today. Now, this means you're probably going to hear shooting outside as it gets dark out. The qualifications happen both inside and outside. Janesville police say they are suppressing rifle shooting that'll happen outside in an effort to reduce noise. They expect the outside portion to be done before 9 o'clock tonight, but say it could take longer. That starts this afternoon around 2:30.
6:18 on this Wednesday, a Wisconsin bus driver is receiving nationwide attention this morning for saving 2 kids who were wandering out in the cold without their coats on. We're going to hear from her coming up next.
And in the First Alert Weather Center this morning, Hattie's tracking more snow returning to our area this afternoon. We're making sure you're prepared for what you need to know before your commute home today. That's when News 3 Now This Morning is back in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. 6:21 on a Wednesday morning, and we're taking a look here at Some steam fog over Lake Monona yesterday. News 3 Now This Morning photojournalist Mark Schilling took this video as he found this as he was out driving around. That's a pretty impressive sight.
Kind of ominous
beautiful
looking, isn't it?
Hattie, how does that start?
Well, it's basically cold air flowing over relatively warm water. I mean, you wouldn't want to go swimming in the lake right now, but yesterday it was warmer than the air. The temperature dropped to 4 degrees, so that is just producing all that steam and fog from the water.
Kind of like an eerie sight.
Stunning, but chilly.
Yeah, it's warming because we are so much colder than we normally should be this time of the year, and I guess we're getting used to that right now. Skies are cloudy, so we're not seeing much of a sunrise. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV Sky Camera. Just a sliver of light on the horizon, but clouds are going to be the rule through the day today. It is still cold this morning. It's about 10 degrees warmer than it was yesterday, temperature-wise. 14 here in Madison and the Dells. Mineral Point is at 18. Janesville, you're at 18 as well. That's only part of the story this morning. When you factor in that wind, those numbers quickly drop to around 0. And in fact, there are some negative numbers on the map this morning. Feels like 2 below in Monroe and Madison, as well as Juneau. In the Dells, your wind chill is 3 below. So remind the kids that they need all the layers today. Wind chills won't be quite as bad as yesterday, only below 0 for a couple of hours this morning. Then back to almost 10 by lunchtime, into the mid-teens later on this afternoon. Your bus stop weather forecast says that the bus shouldn't have any troubles getting to school. There may be some snow showers developing, though, as you head home, especially in those communities north and west of Madison, where the snow started a little bit earlier today. Highs will be in the middle 20s. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Hattie, thank you. Right now, a Wisconsin bus driver is being recognized for potentially saving the lives of 2 young kids she found wandering the streets in the cold, and it was all caught on camera.
Yeah, this happened Monday in Waukesha. The Metro bus driver says it was about 18 degrees outside when she saw a 6-year-old boy and his 2-year-old sister wandering around in the snow. The girl was only wearing a t-shirt, a diaper, and boots. Neither had a coat on. The driver scooped them up, brought them into her bus to help them warm up.
They were headed towards a busy intersection, and I knew there was no school bus stop down there or a school, so I knew right away that I had to pull over and help them.
Now, police say the kid's grandmother was watching them at the time, but when she went into the basement for a moment, they went outside to look for her. Police say no charges will be filed.
This early start to winter has already forced some school districts to call for late starts in the past couple of weeks or even cancel class because of the snow.
But with this week's record-breaking cold temperatures in the morning, you might be wondering how cold is too cold for school. Well, Christina Laurie is joining us this morning with that answer. Hi, Christina.
Good morning. Do you remember just how cold it was in January?
I don't want to think about it.
That kind of set the benchmark for this conversation. Cold days, they're something that parents had to deal with at the start of the year, and unlike snow days, they're much more black and white than you might think. For the majority of school administrators here in South Central Wisconsin, the wind chill has to reach 35 below 0 in order to cancel classes. This morning it's below 0, but nowhere near that mark. When the wind chill hits 30 to 40 below, it can cause frostbite in 10 minutes or less. That's why health experts in the National Weather Service recommend districts cancel classes when it hits that point. Middleton, Cross Plains, Sun Prairie, Verona, many rural districts all follow that precedent. In 2017, the Madison Metropolitan District changed its class cancellation policy to wind chills of minus 25 degrees after finding that more students skipped school on extremely cold days. Most Wisconsin school districts build in an extra 5 or 6 days into their schedule for snow and cold days. Snow days are much more challenging to gauge, though. Administrators have to consider factors like how much snow fell, how clear the roads are, and whether sidewalks are cleared as well. They say it's all just a part of living here in Wisconsin, and boy, do we know that well.
I was going to say we're pretty used to that now, but I feel like more and more these days we've been having those cold, especially last winter when we had that just unseasonably cold weather.
Well, we're not going to see temperatures above 30 for the rest of the week, so this was probably a question on parents' minds.
And college students' minds. I was just talking to one of the producers who mentioned that last year during those extreme cold days in January, she still had to walk to class.
Yeah.
Miserable.
It is miserable. All right, Christina, thank you.
Still ahead this morning, we have the top 3 things you need to know as you head out the door on your Wednesday.
Also ahead, snow emergency zones are expanding, and it's going to impact your parking this winter. We'll tell you if your neighborhood is affected on News 3 Now this morning.
Furniture From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this Wednesday, November 13th. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Breiter. Meteorologist Hattie McLean is tracking yet more snow for your Wednesday. It is one of our top 3 stories this morning. But we're going to start with breaking news overnight. 3 officers for the Madison Police Department are being added as part of the mayor's 2020 budget. That amendment passed late last night. Since the council didn't get a full vote on the entire budget last night, they'll meet again tonight.
The second story we're following nationally this morning. We are just hours from the first public impeachment hearings against President Trump. The 2 witnesses testifying today have a combined 51 years in foreign service. Ambassador Bill Taylor is the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, and George Kent is Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. That hearing is expected to last at least 4 hours. You can catch it all live on CBS this morning, starting at 8:55.
And we've been talking about it all week. Today is yet another alert day, and as we deal with the cold this morning, Hattie's giving us the first alert on more snow that is set to come just in time for your commute home today. Hattie, we just cannot catch a break, but I know you have trimmed back the snow totals a little bit, but the timing just not great.
That's right. But for once, Josh and Leah, that snow not impacting the morning commute, so you won't have any issues getting to work today. Take a live look at the alert day forecast. I've actually trimmed back those snow totals, as Josh mentioned. Now we're looking at just up to 2 inches possible for southern Wisconsin. It will come to time, though, that will impact the evening rush hour. Here's a look at your snow chances. Pretty minimal through the morning hours. Then we look at some snow possible through the afternoon, but winding down overnight. Our extended forecast calls for temperatures to slowly start to moderate as well. We are technically a little bit warmer this morning. We're in the teens right now, but wind chills are closer to 0. Temperatures will top in the mid-20s this afternoon. Coming up later in weather, we'll talk about snow amounts and where those heaviest snow totals will fall later today. Well, let's get you up to date on those first alert traffic maps. Travel on the Beltline still looking good this morning. Looks like all those cars going at posted speeds still. Good winter driving conditions this morning, but that may change for the afternoon commute. Take a look at those times. By 5 and 6 o'clock, we're likely to see some light snow falling here in Madison. That will slow the evening commute. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Hattie. As we enter the snowy season here in Wisconsin, where you can and can't park across the city of Madison during the winter is changing.
Yeah, we're talking about the snow emergency zones and whether you're required to park on alternate sides of the street in your neighborhood. Keely Arthur is live to break it all down for us. And Keely, this can be kind of confusing.
That is correct, Josh and Leah. So this starts on November 15th, which is Friday. On dates that are odd, you need to park on the side of the street with odd addresses. On dates that are even, you need to park on sides of the street with even addresses. And this is where it gets confusing. This starts to be enforced at 1 a.m. So let's say you're parking overnight on November 14th. Thursday night, well, you need to be thinking about that November 15th day, parking on the odd side of the street. It's confusing, but it's all for good reason. It's so the city can plow the roads during all those snow events that we have already been seeing. Now, these rules start this week and then last through mid-November. People who are parking in the downtown area, though, things are a little bit different for them. You can park on any side of the street except on declared snow emergencies. The neighborhoods that those rules affect are South Park Street, to the Yahara River, Greenbush, Vilas, Bay Creek, and Shank Atwood area. So again, you do not need to abide by the alternate side parking rules unless it's a declared snow emergency. But if this weather is any indication, we're going to be certainly seeing a lot of those. And the declared snow emergency zones are a little different this year. This is the first time the city has updated those in a while. And we have an interactive map on our website to check out if your street is being impacted. And if you don't follow
All right, looks like we lost Keely there. Frozen probably with all that cold. Keely, thank you.
All right, Governor Evers is working to cut down on racial disparities across the state with a new executive order. He's now requiring mandatory equity and inclusion training for all state employees. Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes talked about Wisconsin's disparities in education, healthcare, and violence, calling them downright embarrassing.
It is our recognition, understanding, and belief in all of our Wisconsin communities, regardless of zip code, that is going to move us all forward. We will not be a state that is defined by our enormous disparities. Instead, we'll continue to fight to close the opportunity gaps that have left so many people in our state behind.
The executive order also creates a new advisory council on equity and inclusion.
The role religion plays at the state capitol, if any, is being raised by a pair of controversies centered around the holiday season. The state assembly overwhelmingly passed a resolution declaring Thanksgiving week as National Bible Week. The Madison-based national nonprofit Freedom from Religion Foundation is calling the resolution inappropriate. But Republican leaders are defending it, saying they've recognized other religions in past sessions.
I certainly think that having us recognize that it's National Bible Week, since many of us are Christians, it doesn't mean that, we should recognize that, just like I'm not Jewish, but I certainly celebrate the Jewish faith and people who want to practice that.
So for the Assembly to consider a resolution basically endorsing one holy book over another is totally inappropriate.
The Assembly also passed a resolution declaring the evergreen tree that will go up in a few weeks as a Christmas tree, despite criticism from Democrats. Governor Tony Evers called the holiday tree, or the evergreen, a holiday tree last week.
A bill to make harsher penalties for repeat drunk drivers is dead. The bill would have increased minimum prison time for a 5th or 6th offense from 6 months to 18. Prison officials estimate that change would cost around $14 million a year in operating expenses. The Senate passed that bill last week, but it died in the Assembly as Democrats objected Republican efforts to put the bill on the agenda. All right, still ahead in the morning sprint, we are bringing you the latest on how Wisconsin schools are performing.
And we're also learning more about a teen who had to get a rare double lung transplant thanks to vaping. A story you're not going to want to miss when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
All right, we always ask you to share your morning with us, and Peyton Johnson's mom sent us this beautiful photo that Peyton took in Platteville. She says she's trying to take over for her grandpa Ken, who used to send us a bunch of pictures, and I think she's doing a lovely job.
Oh, this is such a fantastic photo, and we've had so many incredible shots with the snow and then the sunrises now that we finally had the sun a few mornings now.
Right, Peyton, you're doing such a lovely job. Keep them coming. We'll keep putting them on air.
Yeah, we love to see these, and if you've got a photo like Peyton's that you'd like to share with us, all you have to do is use the hashtag #MyNews3Morning and send them to us on our Facebook page.
A city in Wisconsin will no longer allow vaping and e-cigarettes in many public spaces. The city of Reedsburg's Common Council approved that measure unanimously this week. A city clerk tells us anywhere normal cigarettes aren't allowed, e-cigarettes will no longer be allowed either.
A Michigan teenager is recovering after a rare double lung transplant as a result of vaping. Doctors in Detroit performed a 6-hour operation on the teen last month to repair damage to his organs. They say the 17-year-old is slowly regaining his strength. It's still unclear what the teen was vaping when he fell ill. More than 2,000 Americans have been diagnosed with vaping-related lung illnesses since March, many of them teenagers and young adults, and at least 39 have died.
The Wisconsin Department of Health Services is urging you to make sure you get your flu shots before visiting family for the holidays. They say there have already been 6 deaths from flu-related complications in Wisconsin this year. The vaccine is available through healthcare providers and pharmacies, and it's safe and effective for people ages 6 months and older.
All right, 6:41 is your time this morning, and it is yet another alert day in the forecast for today. Hattie's telling us everything we're going to need to know for our drive home today as more snowfall is headed into southern Wisconsin. That's ahead in her alert day forecast.
Beautiful sunrise, but a cold one, folks. And if you have a little kiddo turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can put their picture up on TV. Thanks for watching News 3 Now this morning.
Look who's
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. It is an alert day today, but for snow coming later on this afternoon. So for once, the snow will not impact your morning commute. We do have snow on the ground and wanted to show you this picture sent in by Mike in Sun Prairie. He says this leaf fell perfectly and then the wind completed that art project. He also noted that that leaf is not from a tree in his yard, so it blew in from a neighbor's yard, creating that nice circular pattern on the wind. So cool stuff. Thanks, Mike, for sending in that picture. We'll have some more fresh snow on the ground after today. Today is an alert day. I have reduced the snow totals just a little bit. Now it looks like just up to 2 inches of snow is possible from this particular system. It will still impact the afternoon and evening rush hour. Now, when will the snow start? Not this morning. It'll start after the lunch hour north and west of Madison, gradually working its way to the south and east. Here and around Dane County, places like Sun Prairie and Fitchburg, and here in Madison, the snow starts between 3 and 5 p.m. So that's just as the roads are starting to get a little busier, and then that snow sweeps off to the south and east. As I mentioned, though, lighter snow totals are expected from this particular system. Most places picking up anywhere from ½ an inch to about an inch of snow. There could be some isolated higher amounts up to around 2 inches possible, but generally a pretty light snow event for us. High-resolution Doppler radar this morning. If you're just waking up and opening that Channel 3000 First Alert weather app, you'll see that there is some snow showing up on the radar map. It's not hitting the ground. The air is very dry, so all of this snow is evaporating before it reaches the surface. The actual area of low pressure responsible for the snow is much further back to the west, and that will move into southern Wisconsin as we go through the day today. So cloudy skies this morning, then that area of low pressure tracking right across southern Wisconsin, bringing us a chance for some light snow. But just as quickly as it moves in, it will move out. High pressure replaces it for tomorrow, bringing us some sunshine. Temperatures are coldest across Wisconsin and Michigan this morning, where the clouds stayed away a little bit longer. Actually seen some 20s on the map to the west. Here in southern Wisconsin, though, temperatures are still in the teens. We have mid-teens for most spots, but when you factor in that southerly wind, it feels much colder. Winds are expected to stay fairly strong through the morning hours. Here's the lunch hour. Still a 10 to 20 mile an hour wind expected. The winds will diminish as the snow starts. So your wind chill today, you'll still have to consider it. Below zero this morning, climbing only into the teens this afternoon. Here's a look at your future track forecast model. Cloudy skies this morning. Our high today in the 20s. At lunchtime, that snow starts to spread into the area. And again, light snow is expected through the evening hours. It will come to an end by 10 o'clock. Our extended forecast has temperatures that will slowly continue to warm. We're into the 30s actually tomorrow and Friday. And then through the upcoming weekend, I think the best chances for sunshine will be the end of this week. More clouds roll in for the weekend. Here's a look at our pet walk forecast.
Oh my gosh.
Hachi in Madison. That's someone that had fun playing in the snow.
Should be called Snowball.
I guess,
Ooh,
yeah.
yes.
Impressive. I wonder what happened when all that snow melted. You probably left a big wet spot on the floor.
Oh my.
It's going to be a long winter for Hachi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is straight ahead.
In the
Just about 6:51, time for the morning sprint with the most local news to start your Wednesday.
We're going to start this morning with meteorologist Hattie McLean and yet another alert day that's going to impact your evening commute. Hi, Hattie.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. That's right. We do have an alert day in the forecast. Cloudy skies this morning. Snow is expected to develop, though, as we go through the afternoon hours. Amounts are generally going to be light, around an inch for most of southern Wisconsin, but the timing during the afternoon commute makes it a little problematic, so it could be a slower commute home from work. Here's a look at your probability of precipitation, again ramping up around the lunch hour, especially northwest of Madison, staying relatively high through the afternoon. Have a wonderful day.
Alternate side street parking starts in Madison this Friday. So on even dates, you're going to want to park on the even side with the addresses. And then on odd dates, you're going to want to park on this side of the street with those odd addresses. This is enforced starting at 1 in the morning, something to keep in mind if you're parking the night before. Now, it's a little confusing, but it's all for good reason. It's so the city can easily plow the roads during snow events. There are certain parts of the downtown area that do not have to abide by alternate side parking unless it's a declared snow emergency. The city has expanded that snow emergency zone. We have an interactive map up on our website to kind of show you which streets and neighborhoods apply. If you do not follow these rules, you will be ticketed or towed. I'll send it back to you, Christina.
Cancellations. There aren't any today, but with the snow and extreme cold seemingly here to stay, you might be wondering how administrators decide to cancel class. Calling a cold day is pretty black and white. For the majority of schools here in South Central Wisconsin, the wind chill has to hit 35 below zero in order to cancel classes. Madison schools cancel when wind chills are at 25 below. This morning, there are some wind chills below zero, but nowhere near that mark. Snow days are more challenging. Administrators consider several factors like how much snow fell and when. All winter long, we will be sure to let you know when and if classes are canceled, both on air and online.
Thank you very much, Christina. Some county highway departments have already spent their snow plowing budgets. But it's not the recent snow that's the problem. Wisconsin Public Radio is reporting the record snowfall in February could be to blame. Crews in Dunn County used up their budget before the summer even started. Because of that, the county is dipping into their road construction budget to cover plowing for the rest of the year.
A major construction project will be delayed because of the weather. Crews finished working on Buckeye Road between Monona and Lakeview drives, but they're still working to install traffic markings and signs between Morningside and Stoughton roads, so that stretch is still closed and temporary asphalt is down. The city says permanent asphalt will be put down once the ground thaws in the spring.
3 officers for the Madison Police Department are being added as part of the mayor's 2020 budget. An amendment passed late last night. Since the council couldn't get a final vote on the entire budget, they will meet again this evening.
Governor Evers is using an executive order to require state agencies to create and implement equity and inclusion action plans. It also requires mandatory equity and inclusion training for all state employees. Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes called Wisconsin's racial disparities when it comes to things like education, healthcare, and violence, quote, downright embarrassing.
State lawmakers want to celebrate National Bible Week while a nonprofit is protesting against it. The state assembly overwhelmingly passed a resolution declaring Thanksgiving week as National Bible Week. The Madison-based national nonprofit Freedom from Religion Foundation is calling that resolution inappropriate, but Republican leaders are defending it, saying they've recognized other religions in past sessions.
We are just hours from the first impeachment hearings against President Trump. The 2 witnesses testifying today have a combined 51 years in foreign service. Ambassador Bill Taylor is the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, and George Kent is a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. The hearing is expected to last for at least 4 hours, and you can catch it live on CBS this morning, starting around 8:55 this morning.
A bill to help out the state's hemp program is moving forward from the state assembly. The bipartisan bill would realign the state's program with the new requirements under the 2018 federal farm bill. It's designed to help farmers, hemp processors, retailers, and consumers as the state's program enters into its 2nd year. The bill already passed in the Senate, so now it's headed to Governor Evers' desk.
America's largest milk producer is filing for bankruptcy. Dean Foods filed in an effort to keep the company operating. You probably recognize some of its milk and dairy products when you go to the store, like Dairy Pure, Organic Valley, and Land O'Lakes. Dean Foods has been struggling because Americans are drinking less cow's milk. The Dairy Farmers of America Cooperative could buy most of the company.
4 people, including 2 police officers, are in the hospital this morning after a fire in Sun Prairie. Crews responded to a multi-family building near Liberty Park just after 8 last night. The police were the first to the scene and went inside to help 2 others who were evacuating. All 4 are being treated for smoke inhalation. That fire reportedly started in the basement.
The Janesville Police Department's SWAT team will be doing firearms qualifications today, which means you'll probably hear shooting outside. The department says they're suppressing rifle shooting that'll happen outside in an effort to reduce noise. They expect the outside portion to be done before 9 tonight, but say it could take longer. It all starts this afternoon around 2:30.
We are entering the 3rd day of a Rock County homicide trial this morning. A jury will determine whether Jacob Davenport is guilty in the February murder of 28-year-old James Thompson. Davenport was arrested in Texas after 2 months of searching for a suspect. Prosecutors have focused on the security footage as they say it puts Davenport at the scene. So far, the defense hasn't had their turn to argue.
We're learning more about a plane crash that killed 3 men from Wisconsin. The National Transportation Safety Board released its final report roughly 20 months after the 2018 crash. The NTSB says the probable cause of the crash was an in-flight loss of control. The pilot reported having trouble keeping the plane level shortly before communication and radar contact was lost. The plane was flying to Green Bay but crashed in Indiana.
Just about 6:57 now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Starting to pick up now on the westbound side of the Beltline, especially near Stoughton Road exit. Plan on things continuing to get busier over the next hour or two. Inbound side of John Nolan, you're tapping the brakes at Rimrock, and then again at Olin Avenue as you make your way into downtown and other main routes coming into Madison. They're cruising along at the posted speeds with no major issues. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh.
And here's a live look outside from our Edgewater Sky Camera shot. Pretty cloudy start to the day. No snow falling right now, but later on, snow is in the forecast. It'll be pretty light with temperatures in the middle 20s. Here's a look at total snow accumulation. Generally a half to an inch in most spots, but there could be some spots on north and west that pick up to 2 inches of snow later on tonight.
We'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, Hattie.
And thank you for joining us. Go make it a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.